Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today we're going to be talking about another past Block Wars event, most specifically Block Wars Pride, because there's actually a lot to talk about. I didn't really know that there was a lot to talk about until I looked into it, and then I realized, this event had a lot going on. But before we get into the topic of today's video, I want to mention something, because I'm sure someone will ask. Minecraft 1.21 came out today, and I think this is a pretty good update. I was gonna maybe consider making a video about this for this channel, obviously, but because I haven't been following the update too well, I won't be making a full video, but I'll talk about it for like a minute-ish. I think so far, what I've seen, this is a very cool update. I mean, you know, introduce a couple new mobs and new blocks, etc., like pretty typical stuff in that department, but then they added trial chambers, which is a very nice feature. To my understanding, I think this is supposed to be like a late game thing that you do, maybe like after the Ender Dragon or whatever. I don't know specifically the details of how difficult this is, but I know that there's like levels to it, and the loot table is crazy and whatever. I saw a bunch of Captain Sparkle's videos talking about it, because Jordan's always super fast at talking about this type of stuff. So if you want some info, go check out the Captain Sparkle's channel. I'm sure he's talked about it plenty of times. Or Izuma also talks about it a good amount. Regardless, yeah, some you know, a new item or new weapon. Sorry, Wind Burst is a new type of movement that we can do. A bunch of new potion effects. Feinberg's already speedrunning, and I'm sure he's gonna run into those potion effects sooner than later. Yeah, overall, pretty interesting updates. The main thing I care about is some of the stuff that got introduced in the later 20-point updates, which is stuff like entity scaling and being able to pause the tick speed, and a lot of the customization options that Mojang kind of just introduced into the game out of nowhere. They also modified a bunch of stuff, apparently, from what I've heard from talking to some devs who work with Minecraft, not as in like for Mojang, but like make events, etc. So I've heard it's very nice. Also, entity packets or whatever, sorry, not like the server packets or whatever is another big feature that I remember being mentioned. I've heard it's a good update, very nice update. They changed a bunch of stuff though, so a lot of things had to be updated for those you know, maps and events and etc., etc. But it's very nice update. I put a stamp of approval on Minecraft Java Edition 1.21. I don't know what's in the Bedrock one. I assume mostly the same stuff, but anyways, to get to the topic of today's video, Block Wars Pride. Now, this event is very interesting because our focus here was to include as many LGBTQ creators as we could, while also trying to look into viewership because of charity, obviously. Now, the quote-unquote issue here is that Block Wars at this state of Block Wars Pride 23 was not a very big event yet. Our roster was, you know, not super well established, and there was not a lot of large creators involved. Obviously, Rookies was a main catalyst as to that, but Rookies is 2 events after this one. So we were kind of behind in terms of, you know, our options of larger creators. So it was a little tricky. But we made it work with a focus on, like I said, on LGBTQ creators, and yeah, I'm just gonna go over every team one by one. Also, there was a bunch of subs. I'll get to subs because subs is probably the main appeal of this video, I think, because it's a very interesting topic to talk about that I don't think happens a lot, but maybe it does. Either way, going team by team. Red team, I know Red team originally had, I think, Ryan Cornelius on it instead of H-Bomb. You know, solid team. It was the, you know, the one that had one of the major creators on it, which was Smant. Smant, I specifically wanted to include here because I knew he is, you know, a reliable person to ask and potentially be interested in playing. And yeah, I mean, it worked out well. I mean, he was the biggest streamer at this event. Toby was supposed to be in, but we'll get to him in a little bit. Orange team is unexpectedly pretty influential on, I guess, the trajectory of Block Wars. Obviously, because Anthos was introduced in this event, and Anthos already right away showed interest in trying to get people into the event, which is very nice and has been extremely helpful for the past like year or however long it's been. Also bringing along Ashley and Lanchu, who at the time I was completely unfamiliar with, and also a Missy and Aimston duo. Very nice. Yeah, so very interesting combo. I don't know if Missy and Aimston were already together at that point, but they are now. So who knows? I don't think they were, but I could be wrong. Either way, moving on is yellow team. You'll see my little face on there. I'll get into that right now because it's the topic of today's video. What happens when someone has an emergency happen during an event and a substitute is needed? We've seen this happen in the past. Another Pride event had an emergency, MCC Pride 22? 21? No, 21. MCC Pride 21, obviously, when a certain man's fire alarm went off and Phil's of Minecraft had to step in temporarily. I don't remember if it was only for a little portion of it or for the remainder of the event. Don't remember the specific details. But it is a rare occurrence. Funnily enough, the two I can think of are both Pride events. I don't know if Pride is related to people having an emergency, but in this instance, Zombon, or who used to be known as Guts Lover, during this event, they're Guts Lover, so they will be referred to as Guts Lover during the clip that I will show. Had an emergency. I won't get into details. It was not a fun one. I got the details, obviously, because they had to explain why they had to sub out. It was not a very fun reason. And here was what I ended up having to say or communicate to the team. Hello, yellow team.
Hey, Wolfeei.
So, Guts is subbing out. I cannot give the reason because it's private.
They said it in that group chat.
I don't know what's gonna happen because I don't have a sub. Maybe you just get me for now. It's not fair, so I will not try as hard.
Just troll a little bit, yeah.
I can see if Ash or Clown or someone is free.
Wait.
Yeah, I'll just be here for now to make sure that you actually have a functioning team of 5.
Wait. You want to message Clown or someone?
You want me to try to message someone?
I messaged Ollie, but he hasn't responded.
Either way, that's the clip. So, yeah, I ended up being an emergency substitute, which is why I'm on this team, which is why my average has been so low on the website for a while. I think that is that the only reason? It may have been fixed by now. But at some point, my average on the website looked like I was not a top player. Because I got 120 points and 42nd place because I played one game, which was a team split game. Very funny. Yeah, so in that instance, what I had to do, because blockwars, like said, had not really developed its roster super well and was kind of in a pretty small state at the time, I had to just get the first option available. And obviously, like I mentioned, I already messaged Ollie, which is Heike Hate Me, who had expressed interest in being a sub on standby, but he was clearly not at his PC or available right away at the moment that I needed him. So I stepped in for a game, and I think it went okay. Clearly, my team didn't do super well. I say my team. I was on the team for literally 10 minutes. But the team didn't do super well. To be fair, I don't think it was the strongest order-up team you could have made. But either way, it was an interesting situation to have to deal with. Emergency sub. I step in for one game, and then obviously Ollie came in and finished the rest of the event, which is very nice. Either way, a situation I hope I never have to deal with again. I kind of doubt that we have to deal with it at any point because we have had 10-ish subs at least available for the past couple of events, so I hope that trend continues, but I guess we don't know for Series 3. We'll have to figure it out eventually. Either way, moving on, Team Awesome also had a sub, which was Michael, who subbed in for Koji, who subbed in for Eloise, but Koji, I also think, had a bit of an emergency going on, so was not available. All the subs, by the way, are on here, so you'll be able to see. I already mentioned all of them, but we'll get into it at the end. Actually, whatever. First green, and then the second green sub with Michael, and then this one is the H-bomb one. There you go. And then this one is the Tubbo one, where we got Rattles, who is a highly requested player on the MCC Reddit, and we clutched up. We were like, Rattles, you've been summoned. Either way, moving on. Team Sussy, you know, pretty standard team. Puns at the time, offered to bring along Caitlyn because I don't know if Caitlyn is LGBTQ, but he just said, hey, if you need someone, I can bring someone. And I was like, okay, sure. Also, the 5-up and Fur duo ran it back, I guess. I don't think they signed up as a duo, but I just kind of put them on the same team again. Ran it back from one of the best teams we ever made. It worked out fine. It was a solid team. Moving on, Blue Dudes and Perp are two examples that I kind of can group together. They ended up being the Bridges teams as well. This was our kind of, these two teams kind of filled as like pure representation for, LGBTQ, etc. And they also ended up both being kind of OP teams on accident. We didn't know, but they ended up being pretty dang strong. If you look at the individual leaderboard, you'll notice that, there's quite a lot of purple and blue in like the high mid areas, especially here. Delta got 15th, absolutely insane beast mode, performance. But yeah, Blue Dudes and Perp. Fun fact, Blue Dudes initially wanted to be Team Blue Balls. We have had that team name requested probably about like 500 times, and we can't do it. So, unlucky. But this Blue team and Purple team, very interesting. Like I said, representation is very nice. Kylef's there too. Representation plus Kylef, very nice. And like I said, accidentally broken teams. And then finally, you have the pink team, which Shane's in because I wanted Shelby in, I think, because I think at the time what was the case was I was checking like people who followed the Blockwars account, and I noticed Shelby was following the Blockwars Twitter account without being a player, and I was like, Shane, can you ask if Shelby wants to play Blockwars? And then he was like, okay, but only if I can be in the event. I was like, fine. Okay. So then obviously he played, and Shelby wanted to play, so very nice. Toby, like said, was supposed to be on this team originally, which was good for representation and also for viewership, but then Toby had to drop out. I don't remember exactly why, but he couldn't make it anymore, as you can see from this post. I think he responded to the Rattles thing. Yeah, clutch up, I will be cheering. Don't remember what happened, but something, I couldn't make it. As far as I remember, not an emergency, but wasn't available anymore. Either way, yeah, Blockwars Pride was a bit of a mess, really, all in all, from what it seems like. In retrospect, a bit of a jumbled mess of an event. Obviously, post-event there was some stuff that went down as well, and yeah, I mean, really the biggest thing to take away from this is Anthos, which is if you go back in time. At this moment, you wouldn't really expect Anthos being in Blockwars Pride to be such a major factor to the future of the event, but clearly it was. Clearly it had a lot of impact. So yeah, that is Blockwars Pride. Let me know your thoughts on this event, if you even watched it. I don't know how many people watched it, because if it wasn't obvious, this event wasn't really too much of a thing for me. Like I wasn't in the event, obviously, first of all. And then also, like, it didn't, I don't know, I didn't think it was that impactful, besides Anthos. So, like, I don't know, but it was fun and silly and very messy, I guess. But anyways, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts again, and I will see you all tomorrow, actually, for Among Us, if you want to watch. And also, there will be information coming out regarding Block Wars next week, so stay tuned. Next week, mark your calendars for all the days. There's not an announcement every single day. I'm just not telling you which day it is. But next week, stay tuned. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.